What's up guys, I'm Darren. Welcome back to another video. So a few weeks ago I talked about HUMBL for the first time and I described the company as primarily a virtual currency exchange and payment processing company. And what I didn't know at that time is that I was extremely off. I probably told like a quarter of the story. And I realized that after being recommended to do some research on something they have called Search3, a project that will be available by the end of the first half of this year or by the end of this June. So hopefully I can share everything I learned with you guys, and hopefully by the end of this video we'll all have more of an idea of not only what Search3 is and not only what HUMBL's potential role now could be in the metaverse, but what Search3 could mean for the company HUMBL as a whole. So let's get started. So after hearing about the project Search3, the first thing I obviously did was Google search what is Search3 HUMBL. And I ended up on a site that defined it as one of the world's first modular blockchain-based Web3 search engines. Now, there's a lot of you guys out there that may not understand the significance of all that, let alone what it is. I'm definitely one of them. I had no idea what a blockchain-based search engine was. And at the time, I didn't know what Web3 was. So the goal was to definitely understand all that. And in order to understand what Search3 is, I felt like we need to understand what Web3 is. And in order to understand what Web3 is, we need to figure out what came before it, starting with Web 1. So Web 1.0, that was coined by a gentleman named Tim Berners-Lee back in the late 80s. He's actually the creator of the World Wide Web altogether, so pretty important guy. Web 1.0 actually premiered and was pretty big back in the early to late 90s. It was the premiere of the internet. It allowed people to go on home pages and certain links and read articles from news websites, and it introduced electronic mail, or what we call email today. This was definitely revolutionary at this time because as far as I know, we had nothing like it prior to then, but there were definitely issues, which makes sense because this was something brand new. In this case, the issue was there wasn't really much you could do online. You could view basic home pages and basic news, and you could click on specific links, and you could upload certain things, but it had to pertain to what you were looking at. So there wasn't a lot of freedom with that. But like all things, updates and changes need to be made, and that's where we're introduced to Web 2.0. Now, Web 2.0 came out in the 2000s, and on top of giving you everything that Web 1.0 did, it also allowed you to open links and click them and do other things of that nature. It allowed people to create blogs and advertisements on websites like Tumblr and Craigslist. Web 2.0 is what helped social media come to arise, and it introduced us to a lot of websites such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, some of the most popular websites that we all use today. It even gave us websites like YouTube, where it gave us opportunity to upload images and videos and share those with people all around the world, just like I'm doing right now. Now, the change between Web 1.0 and Web 2.0 was ridiculously significant, almost as significant as going from nothing to Web 1.0. But of course with that, there were some major issues in a lot of people's opinions. And the biggest issue it seems like a lot of people are having with the current internet and how it is data privacy issues. It was the internet using our personal data to create tailored ads and marketing campaigns and a lot of other pop-ups you probably run across every single day using the internet. As a matter of fact, back in 2019, Meta, or back then known as Facebook, was actually sued by the FTC, or the Federal Trade Commission, for about $5 billion for breaching data privacy laws. I'm pretty sure at that point it was the largest lawsuit between FTC and any company of all time. I think it still stands of all time. Maybe not the best thing to be proud of. But the point is, with all that, a lot of people aren't too excited about the idea of having their data just out there, and even though it may be convenient at times, it is a little scary to have the idea that these big companies are listening to you. People really just want more control of their data. And that's kind of how we can segue into Web 3. Now, there doesn't seem to be an exact definition of what Web 3.0 is. It seems like the overall goal is to take power from major tech companies and give it to the individual users of the actual products. And the way they want to do that is pretty similar, very similar to blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, is by having decentralized protocols. So having everything owned and operated by the users themselves. And the way you're going to do that is by allowing the people to be participants and shareholders of a particular token or crypto that represents that idea. And the more tokens of crypto that they have, the more voting power that they have of the actual blockchain itself, in this case, the particular of the Web 3.0. People can become shareholders of a particular token or cryptocurrency, and the more of that token or cryptocurrency that they have, the louder their voting power is to be able to change laws and things of that nature when it comes to Web 3.0. It's pretty similar to how a stock works in general. For example, Apple. Whenever you own a share of stock, you could pretty much think about it that it represents one vote on a particular change in the board of directors or a new product or something that they may send to you every quarter when they do their meetings or something relative to that. And the more shares you own of that company, the more ownership you have of that company, to the point where you could end up becoming one of the major or even a minor owner of the company themselves. So whenever they need to vote on things, your voice is a lot louder than your average trader. Decentralization is definitely one of the things that makes cryptocurrency super popular. It's eliminating the middleman, and it's giving everybody the opportunity to vote on what they want their cryptocurrency or their platform to be and represent. But the potential issue that could happen when it comes to Web 3.0 is the idea of having more power the more tokens you can have. Because basically, it sounds like on the surface that the more money you have, the more power you can have. Whether you're one individual person that has a lot of money, or you're part of a venture capitalist or an organization or a hedge fund that has a lot of money, you could put all that money towards a lot of tokens and cryptocurrencies, which makes your voice a lot louder and gives you a lot more voting power than others, which could give you more of an opportunity to manipulate what you would want to happen within that platform. But I would assume that there would be a lot of smart contracts and other laws that could help minimize that from potentially happening. But that seems like an issue, if any, with the idea of Web 3.0. So now we end up in a position where we have an idea of what Web 3 is because we know what Web 2 and Web 1 are. So now that we know what Web 3 is, we know more of what Search3 potentially could be. So Search3 is basically going to be a search engine, very similar to Google, except you're going to have your own unique personal browsing experience, and you'll actually have control of your own data. For example, you could hypothetically upload a video to a particular site where you have control of what site it's on, how long that video is available to be viewed, by who, and when it can be taken down. And not just worry about it being taken down from that particular site, but from any other site. No one else can download it and re-upload it somewhere else. Now, a slight example of Web 3, to a certain degree, is actually available to anybody that has an iPhone, and that's Siri. So aside the fact from its tech enhancements, like utilizing its speech recognition and artificial intelligence, it'll give every user a unique search experience. For example, let's say you use Siri because you want to find a nice Italian restaurant to go for dinner. It's actually going to give you restaurants that are nearby your area, unlike somebody that's 50 or 60 miles away that's looking for the same thing. Rather than giving you guys both the same places to go, it's giving you more of a unique experience, in this case based off your location. It can also help with more accurate searching based off context clues. As a matter of fact, one funny example I saw in a video was somebody searching for a new Jaguar. Now, I'm sure most of us will think of the actual vehicle, the car, the SUV, but it's very possible that in your search results, you might find the actual animal themselves. I'm not really sure how many of you guys out there are looking for a new animal, but you know, that is an option. So with that, we should have more of an idea of the pros and the cons when it comes to Search3 or Web 3 as a whole. Pros being the idea of decentralization, data ownership, and a more unique browsing experience. And the only cons I could think of, besides the idea of having too much power if you have a lot of tokens because you have a lot of money, is the fact that this is going to take a lot of tech advancements, which basically means something like Web 3.0 to reach whatever its fullest potential may be, may take a little bit longer, but that might be okay. And even though it could take a while, it's really cool to see a company like HUMBL put himself in a position to be one of the first to have a search engine based off Web 3. And it's definitely beneficial for them because it helps them create what they call a tech stack across things such as consumer with their HUMBL wallet, search with Search3, and their communication with their blocks, which is a verification tool with transactions that happen on the blockchain. And after researching all this, I think it's fair to say that despite the fact that HUMBL is a fairly small company, and in my personal opinion, may be more of an investing risk primarily because it's a penny stock, HUMBL is definitely more than just a company with a virtual payment processing and funds transferring application like a Venmo or a PayPal. They're actually doing some really major things. And I'm personally interested to see how far this can go and what this can mean for the company, for their role in the metaverse, and for society as a whole. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I appreciate you guys watching. And until next time, take care.